Hey everyone, Cameron from Speedcubeshop.com here, and today I'm going to be doing a really cool comparison between two of the hottest 3x3s of 2021, the Tornado V2 by X-Man Designs and the Waylong WRM 2021 by Moyu. Boy, is that a mouthful. Let's get started. So looking at these two at face value, what do we get and what are the price points? The Tornado is going to be $24.95, which is a price point that shocked the whole entire cubing community, myself included. It comes with a really nice leather carrying case and a plastic shell, like kind of clamshell case, whereas the Waylong comes with a kind of the same GTS3 inspired plastic hard shell case, but no carrying bag, and it comes in at $29.95. So you're paying $5 more, not getting the cube bag, which may or may not really matter. Just something to think about in terms of value. Now, looking at the biggest things that are interesting is that they are very similar in the sense that they're close in price and they each have 5 different magnet adjustment systems and they are a dual adjustment core. Now, the Waylong has 45 different possible combinations, where the Tornado has like over 140, I believe. And we'll talk about why in just a second. Size-wise, I believe they are both 55 millimeters. They have very similar color schemes. Actually, maybe not. I think that the Tornado is a lot more vibrant in terms of the color scheme arrangement than the Waylong, whereas the Waylong is a little bit more pastel and the Tornado is going to be a little bit more vibrant. So that may or may not be something that matters depending on your vision preference. But there's a quick little comparison. Flip to the whites and then... So again, all personal preference, but what I really want to talk about is not just performance, but the dual adjustment mechanisms and how they work. So on the Waylong WRM, you can see that we have 3 tools total to make all of the adjustments. We have our spring elasticity tool, we have our screwdriver to adjust the screw, and we have our magnet adjustment tool. For the Tornado, we just have this. Harpoon doubles as a street weapon and also a dual adjustment system tool. So off the bat, the Tornado is a lot more compact. And if you are going to be one of those guys who decides you want to customize your cube settings on the fly or at a competition, I know this is a lot more convenient than having to carry around all 3 of these or have them in a box or a bag. Now, the center cap on the Tornado is a lot more difficult to remove, and with my current thumb state, I'm gonna have Carlos remove that for me. And I'll pop off the WRM. There we go. So they both do have reinforced caps. What I mean by that being that they are gonna be pretty stable and not hard to remove, but hard to be removed accidentally, which is a huge plus. Now, looking at the side-by-side comparison of the cores, they look very different. So the Tornado no longer has a true, it does have an adjustable screw, but it's not recommended to actually be used by Chi because they are so confident that their machines tighten each screw down to the same core depth that you should only use the dual adjustment system to set the core axle distance travel. I just call it like the looseness or tightness for simple terms, and then the elasticity or the spring compression. So that's really nice in terms of keeping the cube set evenly, because I do know that once you tighten or loosen the screw and you start going from side to side, it can become a nightmare really quickly if you don't know what you're doing. Now, to be fair, the WRM does come with a tool that allows you to put it in between the centerpiece and the core. You can tighten down the screw to try to make it like even on each side, but to be honest, it isn't the most user-friendly thing to use. So what's cool about the Tornado is it could not be easier to adjust. You put your harpoon tool in the centerpiece and you turn it counterclockwise to cycle through the different numbers 1 through 5, which are going to be your spring elasticity, or you can go clockwise and it moves down the screw compression. So again, very, very easy to use. I mean, you really couldn't ask for much more. Now I forgot what setting I started with, so blue cap, please. Okay. So perfect. I was actually at the correct setting, which is 4 and 4. And on that note, if you want to adjust the way long WRM, you would have to either adjust the screw by hand, which I do not recommend that you do, or you can pick through 9 different spring elasticity settings, which you turn counterclockwise to cycle through those different settings. So yes, you can do the same with each, but the Tornado is a lot more polished and easy to use and less of a headache, in my opinion. Now, when it comes to the magnet adjustment, same thing. So it's a very similar concept, except the Tornado has a minus and a plus, and it starts off in the middle. So once you go more towards the minus, you're going towards the weaker setting. When you go more towards the plus, you're going towards the stronger setting. But on the WRM, you have numbers 1 through 5, 1 being the strongest, 5 being the weakest. Honestly, settings 1 and 2 are so insignificant that I don't even think that people will really like to use them. Probably 5, 4, and 3 are going to be the ones that people will use for strong, moderate, or light. So to adjust the magnet's strength, you do need to switch out your handy dandy tool for the Tornado. So you have to swap out to a flathead setting, which again is really nice because it's all included in one tool. They snap in via magnets, so it's very easy to install. And again, you just will rotate the magnet however you want it, left or right. So just go left, or you can go right. So when you adjust one side of the edge, you do still have to adjust the other side as well. It's not like other puzzles where if you adjust one side, they both adjust for you to the same setting. And that's gonna be the same thing for the WRM. So again, the adjustability for the magnets is almost identical, aside from the fact that you have different tools for the WRM and just one for the Tornado. So very similar there. But in terms of performance, let me see. Install this. You need to make sure that when you put the caps on of the Tornado, you need to be really careful to make sure that you're putting them in the right orientation to avoid snapping it. So performance-wise, the Tornado feels very, very different. It feels a lot more smooth, a lot more buttery. Depending on the setting, it can be very fast or more controllable. Corner cutting on settings 4 and 4 is pretty good. The WRM is very fast, so way faster than what we have on the Tornado out of the box. Again, you could tighten this down to make it turn a little bit slower, but this WRM series is typically a lot more fast out of the box. That's just kind of a characteristic of what people like about them. So if you are not very comfortable with a fast turning cube and you still want to try this out, I'd recommend a lubricant like Cosmos or Nebula to help you kind of gain some more of that control back. Vice versa on a Tornado, if you want it to be a little bit faster, you could use something like Stardust or Lunar to really give it that burst of speed. Or if you have it on a fast setting, you can again use Cosmos or Nebula to kind of help slow it down a little bit. In my opinion, the Tornado is a lot more confidence inspiring and quiet, which is nice. Whereas the WRM is a lot louder, a lot more clacky, which I really don't mind too much. I know that for some consumers, that is going to be a deal breaker. The WRM just feels a lot more, I don't know, loose and kind of a little bit more prone to lockups. But again, this is just comparing the setups out of the box for each. You can adjust them to kind of, vary the feel. I'm not going to go through every single different adjustment combination because there are tons and it really is a personal preference thing. But overall, my kind of verdict between the two is that if you're someone who's a more seasoned cuber and likes really fast turning speed, you're comfortable with like kind of looser cubes and you don't really lock up too much, maybe you want to consider the WRM 2021, especially if you are more comfortable with cube setup. If you're a newer cuber who is looking for something more confidence inspiring, a little bit more easy to handle, easier to adjust, maybe the Tornado is the right choice for you. There really isn't a right or a wrong choice with either one of these here. That's the good news. They're both great in their own regards. I thought this was kind of an interesting combination given that they are so similar in terms of price point, functions, and performance to an extent. So I'm really curious what you guys think. Let me know which one is your favorite between the Tornado and the WRM. I'll be looking for your comments down in the comment section down below. If you want to purchase either one of these guys, you'll find links in the description box down below, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.